Hi, welcome to Japanese 101. This video is a recap of our first class. It was given on August 26th, which is last Thursday. In the first class, I discussed the format of our class, went over syllabus, Google Classroom, and our schedule. Then we move on to talk about hiragana and talked about the very first grammatical construction that we are going to practice, which is X wa Y desu. So, let me quickly go over what we talked about for the student who missed the class or registered late. First is the format of our class. Our class is hybrid. Japanese 101 is 4 credit bearing class, which means that you meet 4 times a week, 50 minutes each. The class is called hybrid because Thursday you'll meet me, the director of Japanese and the coordinator of Japanese 101, Professor Fujimoto, in class, in person at Queens College. Then, rest of the week, you'll meet Takeshi Sensei on Friday, Monday, and Hartman Sensei on Tuesday. And those 3 oral drill classes are conducted through Zoom. Again, you meet me on campus on Thursday, and the rest of the meetings are done by Zoom. Next, I went over syllabus with the students. I will provide you the link to your syllabus, so please read it very carefully. And if you have any questions, please ask me the question when you see me on Thursday. Then we move on to talk about Japanese writing system. And we're going to focus on hiragana, the very first thing. So now you're looking at pages of the comic book, which is called Kimetsu no Yaiba. But I would like you to pay attention to the characters or alphabets that we use. These guys are called hiragana. And these guys are called kanji. And kanji looks like Chinese characters. You probably know already that the Japanese don't use alphabet, but we use hiragana and kanji predominantly. Speaking of writing system, if you use English, then you'll be using alphabetical writing system. The definition of alphabetical writing system is that if you have one character, and then one character represents one sound. So, for example, you have the word banana. The word banana contains 6 distinct speech sounds, namely b, a, n, a, n, a. That is why you have 6 characters that you need to use to write down the word banana. Now, hiragana is a syllabic writing system. And the definition of syllabic writing system is one syllable is represented by one character. So here's the question. What is a syllable? If you couldn't answer to that question, that is okay. Let me rephrase the question. How many syllables are in the word banana then? Then you immediately say there are 3 syllables. So what does that tell you? Well, you are able to count the 3 distinctive speech units in the word banana. Ba, na, na. So the syllable is really another word for the a sound unit. So there are 3 sound units in the word banana. So here's another question. If you like to write the word banana in Japanese using hiragana, then how many characters do you need? Right, 3. Why? Because banana has 3 syllables, and in Japanese, you need 3 characters in hiragana to write it down. So that is the basic definition for hiragana. Let's move on to take a look at the individual characters. So, there are 46 characters in hiragana, and you must remember them all by the end of September. But don't worry too much. We're going to start from the first 15 this week and move on, and we'll be able to learn all of them by the end of September. So the first 15 characters are the Japanese 5 vowels, a, I, U, E, O, and 5 characters from K line and 5 characters from S line. Let's look at the vowels first. If you're a native speaker of Spanish or Italian, you have a big advantage because our vowels are very similar and there are only 5 of them. The first vowel is a. Second vowel is I. The third is U. The fourth is E. And the last one is O. A, I, U, E, O. So those are the 5 Japanese vowels. Moving on to K line. The reason because we call this K line is the characters you have here. The pronunciation is the combination of the consonant K and the vowel A, I, U, E, O. So for example, the very first character you see, the pronunciation is a combination of K and A. So that sounds like Ka. Ka. This character is a combination of K and I, so you will pronounce it Ki. Ki. This one is Ku. Ku. This one is Ke. Ke. And the last one is Ko. Ko. Moving on to the S line. These 5 characters are representing the pronunciation of the consonants and the vowels A, I, U, E, O combined. So the first character you see here, the pronunciation is Sa. Sa. This one is Shi. Shi. This one is Su. Su. This one is Se. Se. And then So. So at the end. Note that I did not pronounce this character C because Japanese don't have the C pronunciation, so we tend to pronounce this character Shi. Shi. So those 15 characters, the first 15 that you must remember, and you will have the first quiz on next Thursday. Now, the format of the quiz and how to complete the very first homework, you can find the short video in Google Classroom. So please sign in to the Google Classroom as soon as you can. Then get the link for the homework and the quick video lecture that explains how to do the homework and explain the format of the first quiz. Okay, so let's move on and talk about the grammatical construction that we are going to practice the very first thing in the semester. That is, X wa Y desu. The one thing that is a little hard for you in the beginning is the different word order that the Japanese have. The Japanese word order is SOV instead of SVO. Okay, so SOV means subject, verb, object. In other words, that the word order in an English sentence, let's say, for example, if you want to say, I love you, I, the subject, is in the initial position of the sentence, love is the second, and the object of the sentence occupies the last position. That's why we call the English is SVO language. On the other hand, Japanese is called SOV language because that the verb always resides at the end of the sentence. So if you want to say like I love you, in Japanese, the word order is going to be I, you, love. The love, the verb, will appear at the end of the sentence. So the Japanese is often referred as verb final language. Okay, so the first grammatical structure is X wa Y desu. The X that the subject appears at the in the initial position of the sentence. And これは本です. これ is the subject. This 本 is the object, appears the second position. And です is the verb, the be verb. So this is a book in Japanese is これは本です. The verb appears at the end. Now, I would like to talk about what we call demonstrative pronoun. In English, you have the demonstrative pronoun as well. There's something like this, that, and over there. And that reflects that the distance between the speaker and the item that you are talking about. So if you have a pen or a book and holding on in your hand, then you say, this is a book. But if a pen or a book is on the desk, not touching, then you're going to say, oh, that is a book. Once you take the book and throw that out of the window, and now it's in somebody else's yard, and you're going to say, oh, that is a book. This, that, and over there changes depending on the distance between you and the item that you are talking about. We have this in Japanese as well, and this is これ, that is それ, and over there is あれ. So if you have a book on your hand, you're gonna say これは本です. If you put it on the desk, not touching, you're gonna say それは本です. If you throw the book away and it's in somebody's yard, you're gonna say あれは本です. You will be practicing これは本です kind of expression combined with a demonstrative pronoun in your oral drill. So, speaking of the oral drill, let me give you a sneak preview. As I said, you will be practicing sentence type like これは本です. This is a book. So in the oral drills, you'll be using different nouns, 本, pen, 携帯. Those are the items that you find in your room or in a classroom. You'll be identifying the noun using これは, それは, あれは, the demonstrative pronoun. So you will hear something like これは本です a lot. Also, you will hear the question uttered by your instructor. It will be a question sentence, and in Japanese, forming a question is very straightforward. So once you have this affirmative sentence, これは本です, and attach か at the end of the sentence, it turns into a question sentence without changing anything in the original sentence. So, これは本ですか means, is this a book? It's a question. So can you hear the difference? これは本です。これは本ですかこれは本です。これは本ですか And then, the useful expression is yes and no. You'll say yes, はい, and いいえ for no. はい and いいえ. So in the oral drills, we'll be going over the vocabularies and expression from chapter 1, page 3 to 7. So please read chapter 1 and introduction over the weekend. And not to worry if you haven't gotten the textbook. Once you get into the Google Classroom, the PDF copy of the first 2 chapters that you need to have is already uploaded. So you'll find it there in the Google Classroom. So that the pattern of the oral drill that you're going to have on Mondays and Tuesday is something like this. これは本ですか? はい、本です。Or, いいえ、ペンです。Is this a book? Yes, it is a book. Or, no, it's a pen. Another pattern is asking names. お名前 is a name. So, お名前は? あ、私は藤本です。私 is I and my name is Fujimoto, so I am Fujimoto. 私は藤本です。私は藤本です。So if you missed the first class, don't be discouraged at all. Attend the Monday class and you are all right on track. I'll see you next time.